Yes, my name is Ed Gear. Been a Lion for 53 years, and I have benefited through that entire 53 years. I joined here in Eugene. I was in the military. I spent 30 years on active duty in the military, and one of my assignments was to teach at the University of Oregon, teach ROTC. So when I moved here, I didn't know anyone in Eugene, and the person I was replacing, his name or his activity was belonging to the Lions. And so he took me out and introduced me to the Lions Club. And he'd already paid the dues for the year, and it was the beginning of the fiscal year, so I just assumed his membership, and that's what got me started. The purpose of why I wanted to join was very simple and selfish, in the sense that I wanted to join because I wanted to meet people in Eugene, get acquainted with people, and those kind of things. And it worked very well because it got me involved in the community in ways that I enjoyed and liked.
Thank you for your service. And you are a past international director, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right, so we're going to skip to 3 because we've gone through 1 and 2. What was or is your trade, profession, or occupation?
Yeah, I spent, like I say, 30 years on active duty in the Army. I had some time in the reserve as a medic before I went on active duty while I was going to school. And yeah.
What is or was your favorite memory in Lions that you'd like to share?
Well, that sort of ties in with when I became a Lion. Not when I joined Lions, but I was at a convention, a multiple district convention up at Cannon Beach or Seaside, and there was a mother who brought a daughter in who was totally deaf and had never said a word, and through the Lions, she had just had a cochlear implant. And in those days, a cochlear implant was pretty new, and so it was not as effective as it is now. It's very effective. But anyway, she had learned to say a couple, 3 words, and one of the things the mother asked her to do is just to say thank you. And she said that, but the mother explained how much difference it was, and that a child could hear sounds and things of that nature, and it was already having a major impact on this little child. I think she was around 4 years old at that point in time, and like I say, she hadn't even spoken a word because she'd never heard a sound, so that was pretty significant. Well, that wasn't the most important point, was that she came back when she was like 6 or 7, and had they introduce the little girl again, and she stood up there behind the microphone and talked like she was a professional speaker. She was very clear, enunciated everything, and was happy, and all sorts of differences that had happened to her because she now could enjoy life so much more than before when she couldn't hear anything. So that was when I became a Lion.
Wow. What offices and or awards have you received in Lions?
Well, that's sort of an interesting story too, because I came back to actually Salem at that time when I had an assignment as an advisor to the Guard in Oregon, and I'm trying to think here. Tell me the question again.
What offices and or awards have you received in
Yeah.
Lions?
I love being in the club, and the incoming district governor while I was there asked me if I would be a zone chairman because I'd already been a club president with the South Salem Lions. And I said, no, I didn't really want to get it involved with outside the club because everything in Lionism evolved around the club. And long story short, he came back several times. Finally, I said, okay, I'll do it just to fill a job and because you've asked. And what I discovered, because the only clubs that I had known at that time was the South Salem Lion, and I didn't see anybody else having that much impact on the club. But when I became a zone chair, I went around to the clubs that were in my zone and found that some clubs were really struggling, and they really didn't have enough people in the club that knew how to change that, how to make it better, the club more effective. And so that changed my attitude about it, and I learned more myself by going around to the various clubs, so I could share that information from one club to another. And again, there was one club that was just about to go out of business, and that was probably 40 years ago, and that club is still thriving because of being able to share. I didn't tell them what they needed to do. I said, here's some things for you to think about that you might want to do. And they were the ones, the members of that club were them, and there were only 3 left at that time that were active. They had more members on the books, but only 3 that would come to meetings. And in no time, they had 20 or 30 people that were coming to the meetings. And it was simply, I didn't make it happen. I just gave them ideas and thoughts. And so, well, maybe there's more of a role for somebody outside the club than that. And one thing led to another, and I accepted to run for district governor and then council chairman, and even as a international director, Dennis Tischner was the one that was trying to cause me to run and promote my candidacy. And I first told him, one time I told him no, and then a little later on I said, well, okay, I'll do it. And then I changed my mind again, and I said, nah, I don't need to do that. And so ultimately I did, and for me, it was a wonderful experience because of what I just described right locally in Oregon. Gave me a different perspective on Lionism around the world, and I saw and got to do things as an international director. Again, I felt I was getting so much more out of the things that I was doing in those positions than I was able to give. And so I got gained a lot of information that I enjoyed, and met fabulous people, and it really changed my view of a lot of different countries that I visited and the people in those countries, because I found they weren't any different than Lions clubs right here in Oregon. I mean, they had the same motivations, and yeah, they spoke a different language in a lot of cases, but it gave me a different look, and I appreciated people from all over the world more than I did before I ever had that experience. And I didn't, when I was in the military, see, I didn't have that much interaction with people, even though I was serving in different countries, because you were more isolated in the military environment. So again, changed my attitude about a lot of things.
What years were you international director?
97 to 99, 1997, 99.
To our younger members in Lionism that are new, what words of wisdom would you like to share with them?
Oh, wow. There's so many, but the key and everything that I'm thinking about evolved around the idea that I've benefited from everything I did in Lionism. And it wasn't benefiting with somebody giving me money or doing things for me, but just the experiences that I had just been talking about a few minutes ago. All of those things gave me a different outlook about things, an enjoyment of seeing somebody that had been helped, and the impact that Lions are doing in their communities everywhere. I think of communities now, not just the little area that I live in, but a world community, and they are a community like where I live. And I learned from all of those experiences, and had opportunities that I would never have had I not been a Lion and had these different offices or positions that I had. So, but you don't have to do all those things. You can get the same experience in your club and what people that you've helped in your hometown or whatever. So, yeah, but there's a lot of things. I found also that in so many cases, people taking the leadership training that was available through Lions, they could apply it to their businesses and everything that they were involved in, their churches, whatever. So it's the whole thing is look at it from opportunities that we have as Lions, personally, as much or more than what I'm doing for somebody else. And that's been true of my whole life in that 50-some years that I've been a Lion. So.
Last but not least, how would you like to be remembered?
Oh, I don't necessarily think about it in that terms, but I guess it's just would be a recognition of that a large part of my life was spent helping others in ways that I got a lot of satisfaction out of, versus competition that sometimes is good, but sometimes competition can be a real negative force. And so I guess I would say it really made the person that I am and feel like the focus that I have on being as concerned about other people or even more than how I think about what success is. So that's about the only way I know to explain it.